Skincare red flags that you need to look out for. As an esthetician and someone who has been working in the beauty industry for over 17 years now, there's a lot of that gets tossed around the internet, magazines, store shelves, you name it. And I want to endow you with the information that I wish that I would have had at 16. This is the kind of stuff you want to look for from skincare to avoid hurting yourself, to avoid wasting your money on something that doesn't work, or worse, getting scammed and literally paying money to a deceitful company who is trying to blatantly rip you off. There are some skincare red flags out there that are absolutely obvious and others that are very, very sneaky. And I want to share with you many of those things that you can actually write down in a checklist so that when you see products or advertisements, or even when you're dating someone and they start treating you a certain way because of your skin, you can reference this video. You can remember that your medical esthetician, acne big sister, Cassandra Bankson, spoke to you about this so that you can analyze it and address it instead of allow it to make you miserable, make you hate yourself, make you sad, or steal your money. Or your face, because yes, there have been some people who have literally had life-altering experiences because they didn't know about some of these skincare red flags. Let's start off with before and after photos. We all love a good before and after, right? Specifically because before and afters can show us how a product is supposed to work or what it did for one individual and how it might work for us. But one thing you gotta look for is not just the filters in Photoshop. You're a skintellectual, you already knew that. You have to look for changes in lighting. If you ever come into a professional medical clinic, a plastic surgery office, or the dermatology clinic, when before and after photos are taken, it's done in a room with no external windows. It's done with the same camera, and there's actually a little thing you gotta stand on and little areas you gotta look with your eyes so that you're getting the exact same photo and the exact same angle every single time. Sometimes there's even a thing for you to put your chin in to make sure that you're not moving. It is so important that when taking before and after photos, that the lighting is identical. And of course, that the practitioner or the brand of the company doesn't end up putting Photoshop or filters on you, right? But a lot of people who take photos of themselves, or a lot of brands who are paying people to test and try their products, tell people or allow people to use different lighting. Have you ever wondered why you do your makeup and it looks really good in the mirror, and then you go outside and you see yourself in a mirror or a window reflection and you're like, ah, what is that? It just looks completely different. Lighting, baby. Lighting where you're standing in front of like a diffuse light, like what I have here in studio lights or in front of a window, very different than if you are standing in harsh lighting, or if you're standing somewhere where shadows are hitting your face differently. If you want to know how a product actually performs, make sure that the before and after photos are not filtered or photoshopped and that the lighting is consistent. You also want to make sure that they didn't use the same before and after photo and just Photoshop it. So I actually look for things like what direction are the earrings pointed, right? What about the eyebrow hairs? Do they look exactly the same? What about the hairs on the head? Like, what about the eyelashes? Make sure that the before and afters are actually different, because I've literally seen brands that have very convincing before and afters, but the eyelashes are exactly the same. And they like literally just Photoshopped out that pimple. They shifted a couple of other skin cells slightly to the right or the left, and they had them smile a little bit more, but it's the exact same day. They just Photoshopped a picture. Biggest skincare red flag, because if a brand or a plastic surgery clinic is willing to show you deceitful photos, what else are they willing to do to you, willing to sell to you, willing to lie to you about? At least that's the way that I see it. So major red flag versus a green flag. Whereas if a medical clinic or a brand actually has good lighting that is consistent, all those variables are consistent, and you can see that it's a different day, and you can actually see before and after results because the eyebrow is different, you know, something else is different. You can tell that it's not the same day and they don't have makeup on and there's no Photoshop. I literally saw this ad on Twitter recently for this makeup brand, and it literally says no filter. Do they think we're dumb? Like, is it not obvious that that's a filter? Help me. Another skincare red flag is if a brand says that they are preservative free. I know that can be tempting because we hear preservatives. Oh my gosh, that must be so bad. That must be terrible, right? Well, what do preservatives do? They preserve a product. So that mold and bacteria doesn't grow in the product. This is so important. And while there can be some formulas that can get away with being preservative free because they're an oil base, not a water base, they're preserving the formulation of the product for a specific amount of time to make sure that nothing bad or harmful grows in it. And no one knows this better than this beautiful girl on TikTok who was brave enough to share her story about what happened when she used expired products. Dr. Yoon is a plastic surgeon who's amazing. You should subscribe to him, but he actually did an analysis of what happened to her. Look at this infection. This infection happened because she used an expired product. And what happens with products that are preservative free? they expire much more quickly. This is why if you hear preservative-free, red flags, because either number one, that means it's gonna spoil really quickly and you've wasted your money. Number two, it means that they're not actually made by scientists or people that know anything about cosmetic formulation. Or number three, if it says preservative-free, what else are they adding in there to make sure that the formula is stable and that it's not growing mold or bacteria? Like if they're taking out a preservative, which like salt is a preservative, that's why people would salt meat. That's why people ferment cabbage or put pickles in vinegar, because it's a way of preserving things, right? If we're not preserving the cosmetic product, what else is going in there instead? It might be something that's not as good. And speaking of expired products, that's another huge red flag, is if number one, if a brand doesn't even tell you when that product expires, that probably means that they're not actually cleared to sell that product. Like it's literally dangerous. If you look at the bottom of your packages, you can literally find either expiration dates or you see a little, it's like a little container with a little open lid and it says like 6 months or 12 months. That means after this bottle has been opened, it is only good for 6 months or 12 months after it's been opened. So important to look at, because look at what can happen if you don't. And a huge red flag is number one, not tracking that for your own, which I know can be rough, but I literally take Sharpies and when I open something, I will list the date on the bottom so that I know when I opened it and when I need to use it by. But either doing that for yourself or making sure that you're staying on top of that so you don't end up with an infection from a product whose preservative system has been broken down because it's expired, right? And just the way not all expired food or medicine is bad, it just might be less potent. Not all expired products are bad. There are some that you can still get away with using, but it's really dangerous to recommend that because of the terrible things that can happen, especially once those preservative systems break down and mold and bacteria and other things like fungi and yeasts can grow inside of that cosmetic formula. Huge red flag. A green flag is literally paying attention to those numbers and writing it on the box, or only purchasing from brands that actually have the proper nomenclature and the proper disclosures on their boxes. Because if they can't even be bothered to tell you when the product expires, do you really think I'm trusting the brand to tell me what's actually in the product? Next skincare red flag, if the ingredients don't match the product or if it doesn't look like the ingredients will support the formula. Be critical and be skeptical. You see, every single cosmetic product and skincare product has what's called an INCI list, INCI. It stands for International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients, and it's literally telling you what is inside of that product. Every single brand that's worth their weight in salt, which is a preservative, is legally required to disclose those things. If you find a brand that isn't doing that, or if you find a brand and you can clearly see there's an oil and a water in it and it says oil-free, be suspicious. Make sure that you're checking and looking at those brands to see if they're reputable. I love trying indie beauty. I love trying new things. Let me say, I've come across some questionable stuff. When did I become Daffy the Duck? I've come across some questionable things out there. And in order to avoid purchasing a product that you don't know has like mercury in it or something that will literally destroy your skin, make sure that you're looking for some of those key green flags, such as actually seeing the INCI list and the ingredients listed properly, or having a barcode. There's something, I think it's called a UGC. No, that's user generated content. What is it? It's a barcode that is recognizable throughout the world. Any brand that wants to sell online basically has to have one, and then checking for that little expiration dot. Green flags, because we don't want a red face because we didn't know about the red flags. Another one is chemical free. This is a huge red flag, and it literally tells you that the person that is making or selling this product doesn't know the basics of chemistry. Everything is a chemical. Air is a chemical mixture. Vegetables and fruits are chemicals. I literally got into an argument with someone on the internet about that in 2020 and they tried to destroy me. And it was so funny because I wasn't trying to be a bitch. I was just like, can we please be educated people here? I was actually really nice about it, but they tried to tear me apart on that Rumble application. Do you remember the Rumble app? I was on that until I got destroyed by this person who tried to convince me that there were no chemicals in vegetables. Anyways, chemicals are everywhere and chemicals are not bad. They make up you and me, and you obviously know this, but it is a huge red flag if a brand says chemical free, because that literally just means they don't know shit. And they probably have no business in actually creating these products in the first place. I understand fearmongering is a part of some people's business practices. While I disagree with it, but there are ways to fearmonger and to greenwash without being downright wrong. Okay. I am someone that will always admit when I am wrong, and I love to learn new things and challenge my preconceived notions and existing biases, but there's some people that are just wrong. and we need to call it out. And those people are the red flag people who say that their cosmetics are chemical free. Stop lying to me, okay? Like, I'm so sorry, I'm so over it. This is kind of like a red/orange flag for me, but it's when a brand says like 9 out of 10 derms have tried XYZ, or 9 out of 10 dentists recommend. Like, what kind of derms? What kind of dentists? The ones that you paid? Like, where are we getting these derms and dentists? If you're not giving me a medical study that shows this, I'm suspicious. On top of that, just because a dermatologist has tested something doesn't mean they like it. You could literally say, hey, Cassandra, acne big sister medical esthetician, I want you to test this. I could test it and I'd be like, clash! Chuck it at a wall. You could still say I tested it. Doesn't mean I approved of it. Always look for dermatologist or esthetician or expert approved, not just tested. And something that a brand called Skin Fix does, which I love, they said tested by non-biased derms. I like that because they're actually saying that they're not paying off these derms or not biasing them to sway a certain way or the other. They're actually saying like, what do you use? What do you like? Literally with the toothpaste. I saw, was it on TikTok? There was this, and maybe it was Instagram, but it was basically talking about which toothpastes are the safest for your teeth versus which ones are the most abrasive for your teeth. And it's so funny because the toothpaste that 9 out of 10 dentists recommend is actually the one that is hardest on your teeth and like breaks down your enamel and your dentin more than the others. Like there's literally a chart that dentists use to go over this stuff. Why are we not just going to that? Okay. So it's kind of a yellow or an orange flag, but when I hear that it's derm tested or that 9 out of 10 derms have tried it, I put my Dr. Gadget, what the f is that hat on? Because I get concerned. That also goes for medical studies that are conducted by the brand. Now there are many different types of medical studies, meta-analyses, reviews, case studies, etc. Some like meta-analyses where they're looking at multiple studies are better than just a case study, which is one person's experience. But you have to look at the disclosures under those studies and you have to specifically see if it was biased by a brand. There are some brands that do fund studies and they are good, especially if you can look for a placebo-controlled double-blind like study. That's going to be the best of the best. That's what you want to look for. However, there are some brands that are very shady and they will pay other shady scientists or shady laboratories to conduct research that just so conveniently proves that their product is the best, which is why they can make this claim that you should buy it. That sets me up on suspicion street, all right? I get real red-orange flags around that because of course there's a financial incentive for them to say that their product is better than all the rest, right? Now, if they're looking at just an ingredient or if it is a double-blind placebo-controlled, meaning that the subjects who are testing it and then even the researchers don't know which is which, that's better because you're taking out those opportunities for bias. But it's rough out there. And that's why the best studies are the ones that are done completely independently of a brand. The problem is the brand is usually the one that has the money to actually fund that study to be done in the first place. And I do wish there was more money and more funding available for studies that would literally improve the way that we use and test products and ingredients and health and nutrition and all these things that make up whole body health and wellness. But sadly, that's not always the way it goes. And a lot of the large cosmetic companies or pharma companies are the ones that have the budgets to fund the studies. And so some of them do it honestly and others just fund the studies that make their products or brands look good. So be suspicious. Be suspicious. And now you know, so that you can actually look for those green flags when you see that they don't have any disclosures of bias, or when you look for the green flag and we're like, oh, it's placebo controlled. That's great. Another huge red flag is when brands attack their customers online. When brands gaslight you into thinking that you're the reason their product didn't work for them. And while it's true, some people can have sensitive skin, some people can have allergies they didn't know about. A brand should never attack you when you have paid them money and are struggling with your skin. Does anyone know the brand that I'm talking about? You know, where the large mammals are not drunk, the founders are. This grinds my gears, especially as someone who's struggled with acne and has had to break down the stigma of acne and skin conditions for myself, as well as for clients and patients that I literally work on. And I've seen the emotional damage that skin conditions can do and how frustrating it is to look at shelves and wonder which product and you feel overwhelmed and you're spending all your money on this. Then to have the brand attack you on social media? That is like the reddest of red flags. And even if they create great products, a brand that does that, unless they apologize, take responsibility, and make actionable change, no coins for them. No. I will put those towards brands that actually deserve it. Okay. Another big red flag is if you cannot find any negative reviews of a product on the website or the Sephora Let me tell you a story. Of course, if a brand is just launching a new product, it might be the first day, there might not be some reviews. But if that has been out longer than a week and they're not like some really obscure indie brand who has maybe only sold 2 units, you bet they're gonna have some reviews. If a brand has nothing but 5-star reviews, get suspicious and look on other websites for the bad ones. I literally tried out a new dry shampoo. It's from Dae, D-A-E, and it's like a dry shampoo hairspray. And I went on Sephora and like, it's all 5-star reviews. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to try this. I literally ended up looking like a crusty, dusty skunk that was a long lost relative of the Wicked Witch of the West. My hair was disgusting. It was clumping in my scalp. I literally could not shake it out. And I was like, how does this have so many 5-star reviews? I went off the Sephora website onto other websites. And what do you know? People hated it. They were like, this stuff is disgusting. It works if you're blonde or gray. Otherwise, you're gonna end up a crusty, dusty, sandy mess. And it was absolutely disgusting. And I was like, yeah, I'm going back to my living proof dry shampoo. And that's really frustrating when you spend $30 on a product, or even if you're given a product for free. It's really disappointing to look at the reviews, to expect and have this anticipation of what this product is gonna do for you, and then to be so sorely let down. It's almost worse than just going in with no expectations and being like, oh, whatever, and just being disappointed. Like, but when you had a high expectation because of the reviews and then you're gaslit, that is a red flag and it grinds my gears. Look for negative reviews. Negative reviews are a green flag because then you can see when someone says 1 star, it didn't work for me because it didn't dry out my pimples. Good, I don't want to dry out my pimples, so that 1-star review for you is actually a 5-star for me. Logic. Another huge red flag. Have you ever logged onto a website and there's like a pop-up that says 5 other people have this in their cart, or someone in Arkansas just purchased? Look at the actual JavaScript of the website. If you know anything about programming or coding, and if you don't, go find someone who does. Most websites have this pre-programmed in. If it's saying someone in Timbuktu just added to their cart and it happened to pop up 10 seconds after you got on that product screen, that is pre-programmed. That is a lie. And again, some people might see this as a red flag, maybe a yellow or an orange. Maybe you know it's fake and you just kind of look in a side eye. And again, it's not the worst offense, but I'm like, dude, if a brand is willing to lie to me about this just to try to get me to fear that it's gonna sell out and to add it to my cart, I don't want your product anyways. There's gonna be other brands that actually tell me about their product, that market to me in an interesting or engaging manner, that actually try to do their homework, and don't have to lie to me using JavaScript, pretending that someone in Wisconsin just added this sack of yak meat to their cart while I'm trying to buy my lipstick. Was that too far? Was that too far? No. You know what I'm talking about though? I feel gaslit and I'm not gonna gatekeep it, and it's a red flag in my book. When you see that, the website. And I will say there are some really good brands that do that and they have that on their website. But this is a message to all those brands that ever see this video. Take it the down. Nobody wants to see it. Everyone sees through it. Stop lying to me. I'm sick of it. Another red flag. If you're wondering why it's so expensive, then you literally reverse image search the image and you find it on Alibaba or AliExpress. Red flag. Drop shipped crap. If I want to buy it, I'll buy it in a bulk of 10 for $50 from Alibaba. But avoid the drop shippers like the red flag. I'm sick of it. Dude, I have fallen victim to so many drop shippers. We need to talk about this because it is scam town, okay? Red flag. Reverse image search it, shows up on Alibaba like that phantom face mask. Remember the one that literally shocked my friend's face? Like literally electrocuted her face? What do you know? We had spent how much money on it? It was an Alibaba AliExpress ripoff. Yep. Another red flag. Greenwashing. If a brand is greenwashing their product, not following up their claims with action, if they are making false claims, again, if there's spelling errors on the package, all of these are red flags to me to avoid, either telling me they didn't do their due diligence and they aren't creating a reputable product, or number 2, they're willing to fearmonger and greenwash and gaslight me into purchasing their product instead of actually creating something based on honesty, trust, respect, and actually earning and deserving my dollar. Probably $20, because nothing is cheap anymore, okay? These fucking brands do not get my dollar, okay? Also, using people's faces to sell products that those people have never touched. You know Dr. Shireen Idris, Pillow Talk Derm? She's amazing. Yeah, she and I just had both of our faces used in this scammy skincare, Lion skincare product. This is an ad that is being shown on Instagram right now where this brand is using our face to sell products when Dr. Idris, nor I, nor probably half of the other women in this video have ever endorsed or even used this product. And again, when you look at the product and you reverse image search it, guess which website it's coming up on? This is drop shipped, overpriced crap using my image, Dr. Shireen Idris's image, and probably countless other women's faces to sell products that did not even touch their faces ever, nor mine, nor Dr. Idris's. And I'll actually leave a link to this in the description. Could you please report this for me? Could you do this for Dr. Idris if you won't do it for me? Could you report this? Because we need to call this out. And when you see someone's face being used in an ad like this, Google the person and Google the product. If those two things don't come up together, big red flag. Now, there are things that I've used and loved. For instance, I've paid, used, and purchased my own YouLike devices and loved them, and then I ended up working with YouLike. I did the same with Kenzie, but then I've got, again, drop shipping Kenzie, we gotta talk about that. But there are things that I've used and loved, and then the brand ended up saying, can we pay you to make a video sharing your honest thoughts? Or can we use your existing video and put it on our page? That is very different. And if you Google Cassandra Bankson YouLike, you will find videos where I am talking about my before and afters with the same lighting, talking about my experience over time with this device, telling you what I think you need to know so that you can decide whether or not it's worth it for you. That is very different than photoshopped, scammy images and stealing someone's name, likeness, image, and personality without their permission to shove ads down your throat for some Alibaba drop-shipped trash. Is she caffeinated? Is she heated? Is she underslept? We also gotta talk about relationships or relation. A huge red flag if someone bullies you for your skin or doesn't take the time to ask you about your relationship to beauty and treat it with kindness and respect that it deserves. Listen, we all love a little sassy banter. We all love people who are willing to kind of help us grow, right? Help us challenge our preconceived notions. This could be friendships, romantic relationships, family dynamics, etc. But if someone is bullying you or making you feel bad for your skin, this could be a person, an individual, or a product, it can be really hard to find the courage to talk to them. And while you should, they should not be tearing you down based on your appearance, because what your appearance is does not dictate what you can give to this world. And if you want to hear about a really difficult time when I was actually in a relationship and I was given a horrific birthday card, which I'm sure was meant to be funny, but it actually caused me to burst out into tears on my birthday. I actually wrote about that recently in a Pop Sugar article about dating with acne. Because when you date me, you are dating my acne too. And these are skincare red flags, but there are a hell of a lot of relationship red flags out there that I am not even the beginner of the qualified to talk about, okay? Seeing as my lack of relationship history, okay. There's actually an Instagram account and he literally runs around with red flags. You've probably seen him. Yeah. His relationship red flags videos is where I originally got the idea to do these skincare red flags. So please go check him out on Instagram as well, because he's great. Please go report that post as well, because Dr. Shireen Idris and the other unnamed women victims of this skincare scam would greatly appreciate it. And most importantly, post a comment with another skincare red flag that you look out for that we didn't discuss here, so that I can read them, other people can read them, and we can learn from each other. And if you have a green flag as well, even better. Overall, avoid the red flags, avoid the scams. As someone who's worked in this industry for over 15 years, this is what I look for. And these are the things that just piss me the off. I'm like at the end of my rope today. I'm like the candle burning at both ends. I am so over being gaslit, and I am not gonna gatekeep any of it. And I love you. And I hope you're happy to be here, because I'm happy to have you. And I cannot wait to see you in the comments or this next video. Remember to be beautiful both inside and out, and see you over here. Love you guys. Bye.